Holy moly, you guys, movies, am I right? They're a good time. I'll be the first to admit I enjoy watching them. Tell me a story, movies, you got me, I'm all in. I don't want to get all film history teacher in this video, but these things have come a long way, and so have the ways in which we watch them. Motion pictures used to be shown in these things called Nickelodeons back in like 1905. They were called Nickelodeons because you put 5 cents in and you got to watch a little movie. In retrospect, Nickelodeon maybe was not a good name, kind of stuck them in one spot price-wise. They couldn't be like, hey, come watch a movie in the Nickelodeon, it's only 25 cents. People would be like, that's a quarter-rodian, you liars. Anyway, after like a decade of Nickelodeons, the industry changed. Movies became more popular and longer, and so they needed bigger auditoriums and higher ticket prices. So Nickelodeons ended up dying and movie theaters were born. And then decades later, a network picked up the name and that gave us SpongeBob, so that worked out well, I guess? Now, the reason I'm talking about this is because after more than a century of thriving, it seems like we might see the decline of movie theaters in like the next decade or so. There's a company that poses a real threat to them and has the power to put them out of business in like the near future. And you know what? You can disregard all this Netflix stuff showing on the screen because I'm talking about Disney. Disney. It sounds weird because Disney's been dominating the box office in recent years, just making a bunch of money, just bulldozing it. So many of their movies pass $1 billion now. They're breaking records all the time. Why would they want to put movie theaters out of business, right? Well, that's what this video is about. That's what I'm gonna talk about that. I'm also gonna talk about some clues that this might actually be their intention. So, 2019, a pretty incredible year for Disney. Avengers Endgame came out, the highest grossing movie of all time. They dethroned Avatar. That's nuts. They kicked James Cameron to the streets. Get out of here, James Cameron, you're done. More than a third of movie tickets in North America sold in 2019 have been for Disney movies. And the year's not even done. They still have Frozen 2 and Star Wars 9 on the way. So yeah, Disney sold a lot of movie tickets in 2019. It was a very good year for them. And I would argue almost strangely good. Like suspiciously good.
Oh, very suspicious.
Because looking forward into the 2020s, at least the early 2020s, it doesn't really seem like Disney's gonna have a year that can rival what's happening right now. They had massive movies this year, but they also kind of played every massive hand they had in terms of cinematic releases. Avengers Endgame was the end of an era, and sure, there are lots of Marvel movies lined up, but that thing was the culmination of over 10 years of character buildup. The MCU is unquestionably gonna be a different beast now. Then there was Toy Story 4. People were convinced that Toy Story 3 was the end of Toy Story movies, and yeah, no, they were wrong, but Toy Story 4, I mean, this has to be the last one, right? They're not gonna make a Toy Story 5. I will even say, please don't make a Toy Story 5. Like, they're good movies, but please don't keep adding on to it. There's also the live action and, well, very live action looking remakes of their animated classics. In terms of animated classics, The Lion King and Aladdin pretty much top the list of, you know, classics. And finally, Star Wars Episode 9, The Rise of Skywalker. That's a 2019 or 2, and yet again, that's the end of an era, the end of a Star Wars trilogy. So Disney crammed all these major end of an era type event movies into the same year. They overtook 2019 at the box office with some of the heaviest hitters they had to offer. And that might be because they intend to phase out that part of their operations over the course of the next decade. By now, you've probably heard about Disney Plus being a thing that's happening. Disney is plopping continuations to all those big franchises onto that new platform. There's gonna be new Marvel, new Star Wars, live action remakes, even a Forky show from Toy Story 4. That character where they were like, we're literally gonna sell you a plastic fork and you're gonna buy it and you're gonna like it. It's almost like Disney used their 2019 release slate as an advertising campaign for Disney Plus. Like, hey, we reign supreme in the movie business, and if you want more of our stuff, you'd better sign up for our streaming service. But what could be so great about Disney Plus that would make Disney want to phase out movie theaters if they managed to make so much money off of them? Well, probably one big thing for Disney is that when they release a movie into theaters, they don't own the theaters, and movie exhibitors usually take a solid cut of movie ticket revenue. According to the Wall Street Journal, it ranges from 40 to 60%. On top of that, the average person now goes to the theater 3 or 4 times a year. So let's just imagine that off of every movie ticket sold, Disney makes like $7. movies. It's actually better in the long run for them to lock somebody into paying $7 or $13 every single month for a subscription service than it is to make $7 off of them like 3-4 times a year. That monthly revenue is still a better deal for Disney, and they don't have to share that revenue with anybody. Disney doesn't necessarily like sharing. We saw this play out pretty recently. If I had to venture a wild guess, I'd say Disney is gonna make some kind of surprise announcement soon. I think that whenever the trailer for the Black Widow movie comes out, they're also gonna drop a fun little tidbit of information that they're gonna release the movie on Disney Plus at the exact same time as it's gonna come out in theaters. Maybe this is far-fetched, but I don't really think it is. Think about it, Black Widow is gonna be a big enough movie that sure, people would go see it in theaters, but it's also a small enough movie, you know, Natasha's running around doing non-superpowered flips and stuff, that it seems like the kind of thing a lot of people would be cool with just watching at home, you know? So by releasing this movie at the same time on Disney Plus, maybe Disney takes a little hit on the box office numbers they could have gotten if they just released in theaters, but they could also get millions of people to sign up to Disney Plus and essentially agree to pay them the cost of a movie ticket every single month. What's more valuable to them? A guy who's like, one ticket for Black Widow, please? Or a guy who's like, here is a direct connection to my credit card, please take some of my money every single month. It would be a pretty good move if you think about it. I'm sure Black Widow's gonna be good, but it's not gonna be a crazy box office record breaker, right? Disney's not gonna cry if it makes 800 million in theaters instead of 900 million in theaters. It's kind of the perfect movie to test a dual release with. Also, if people sign up for Disney Plus and start watching new releases on their platform, Disney gets to do a whole lot more than just take some money from you every month. They get to pull a Zuckerberg and collect a ton of personal data about you and everybody watching their movies. The ages, the demographics, who's watching what content and when and for how long. Are people clicking away from a movie and losing interest at a certain point? These are all things they can learn from and improve their content with. They can't really get that kind of detailed information when their movie is playing in a theater. They need like a Splinter Cell guy with night vision goggles in every theater in America just taking notes. Like, oh, is that guy going to pee or does he not like the movie? I don't know. There's some stuff to be learned that they just can't learn the way things are right now. Also, Disney can use their own platform to promote their own stuff in a way they can't do in a movie theater. After you finish watching the latest Star Wars movie, they could be like, hey, here's a coupon code for some Star Wars merch. Go ahead and get yourself a Yoda t-shirt. We noticed you rewound the Yoda part 5 times. You must really like Yoda. Go buy some Yoda stuff from us. Do it. Buy some Yoda stuff, you coward. They could promote their Disney theme parks, another multi-billion-dollar part of their company. Also their vacations, their cruises, their other shows, other movies. Just a big circle of self-promotion that leads you to spending more time and money on Disney stuff. Getting you to sign up for Disney Plus has so much value for Disney that they're not getting from the current distribution method for their movies. They can totally start phasing out their movies from movie theaters over the next decade and probably become more profitable for doing so. And because of the way they've been playing their cards over the past couple years, it's gonna be tough for another studio to step in and fill the void. Since Netflix has become popular, people increasingly go to the movie theater for event films. Disney basically has a monopoly on these. Star Wars, Marvel, Pixar. There aren't a ton of massive franchises out there right now that drive people out to the theater the way Disney properties do. Movie theaters would take a huge hit. And by the way, Disney has already started doing some stuff that makes it seem like this is where they might be heading. According to the Wall Street Journal, when The Last Jedi came out, they forced theaters to agree to a bunch of stuff to even show the movie. They forced them to agree to giving more of their revenue than their usual percentage. That right there shows that Disney's not happy with how much they're making off of theaters. They also made theaters agree to show The Last Jedi in their largest auditoriums for at least 4 weeks. If theaters didn't follow the contract, they were penalized another 5% of revenue. And if they didn't agree to the terms, they just didn't get to show the movie and lost 100% of potential revenue. Lot of strong arming going on here, Disney. You guys been eating some spinach? Also, hey, this is messed up. You know how Disney bought 20th Century Fox recently? Well, yeah, we might get a fun X-Men movie out of that deal or something, but do you know what they've already done with those rights? They've apparently blocked indie theaters from licensing any Fox movies. Disney is already not allowing some of their property in movie theaters. My guess is that that is just the beginning. Bob Iger, who's the head of Disney, said that Disney Plus will, quote, be treated as the most important product that the company has ever launched. And I don't think he's messing around. So what's gonna happen to movie theaters when Disney Disney decides it's time to pull their content from them? Well, it might be scary times, but luckily I have the answer. Movie theaters are gonna go out of business. In 60 years, a streaming service called Movie Theater is gonna launch, and that is where SpongeBob is gonna play. And that's gonna be nice. SpongeBob he's a lot of fun. I hope you enjoyed this video, guys. I hope it didn't scare you too much about the future of movie theaters. Do you go to the movies a lot? Do you think they can survive if Disney decides to stop playing their movies in them? Let me know your thoughts on this in the comment section. Thanks for watching, and check back soon for a new video.